was senior night at the Mack Center. How the Flashes fared against Central Michigan and if they could keep their home game winning streak alive.
Kid from Akron looks to reach another milestone. Could LeBron and the Lakers do this and take down Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets?
And more history was made over the weekend. Caitlin Clark looked to become the all-time leading NCAA basketball scorer. Let's witness greatness and history as Sports Corner starts right now. Welcome everyone to Sports Corner. I'm Liv Sharp and Blake Aloja is out for tonight, so Michael Needon is going to be filling in. Mike, thank you so much for joining us today. How you feeling?
Thanks so much for having me. I think it's going to be a great show today, Liv.
I think so. We've got a lot of good stuff planned, but let's not wait another minute. We're going to get started on the hardwood with some Kent State men's basketball. It was senior day, and they were taking on the Chippewas. Away we go. Jalen Solinger, he's got the rock. He will pull up into the paint and make the jumper. Kent State leads up by 2. Claron Hornbeek is going to be getting a lot of minutes with Chris Payton out for the season. He's going to net 2 here, and Kent has a 4-2 lead in the first. We move ahead to the second half. We are tied at 36. Giovanni Santiago gets the defensive rebound, and on his senior day, drives through the paint and lays it up and in. Santiago finished with 21 points. Santiago bounced past to Von Cameron Davis.
Great win on senior night. Always have the seniors here with me on this night, no matter what. Even though Chris didn't play, he had a ton to do with us getting this win here today. Obviously, Gio played a great game, and we had a number of guys step up the way we needed to get this win here tonight and end our home season on a winning note.
Well, Mike, with Saturday's win over the Chippewas, Kent State has officially punched their ticket to the MAC tournament. So, how far do you think the men are going to go?
I hate to say it, but unfortunately, this team, they're not going to be much higher than a 7th seed. They're going to play either Toledo or they're going to play Akron. And unfortunately, both of those teams, they are powerhouses in the Mid-American Conference, especially Akron. Even though they played them close, both games, at the end of the day, Akron is just a different animal. Enrique Freeman, he's probably going to win MAC Player of the Year.
Easily.
He would have my vote. Personally, I just think that it's going to be a very short tournament for the Golden Flashes. What do you think, Liv?
I'm going to choose to be a little bit more optimistic here. I'm choosing to save any judgment until I see how Kent State plays Toledo, because like you said, it's either going to be Toledo or Akron. Most likely how it shakes out, it will be Toledo. I think that if Kent State can at least prove that they can handle this Toledo team, then they've got a chance at winning. Toledo, the big issue with them is that they are a very high scoring team. Their lowest score all season was 62 points. That was against Central Michigan. And I think that the Flashes, if they can handle the two-headed monster that is Raheem Moss and Dante Maddox Jr., I think they're in good shape because Kent is also a relatively high-scoring team. Toledo also lets their opponents score a lot. So the key for Kent State is really going to be figuring out how to score. They're still working through some rough patches here. Chris Payton Jr., as we found out on Saturday, out for the season with that broken wrist, which is a huge blow to Kent State. But I think if they can figure out some things defensively, and if they can handle Toledo, maybe not necessarily even win that game, but play well against Toledo, I think they stand a chance of at least going to the semifinals. My second question, like I said, Chris Payton is out. Who is going to need to step up for this Golden Flashes team?
It's going to have to be Claron Hornbeek.
Yeah.
He is the backup center anyway, which means he will be getting starting minutes.
Oh, yeah.
See, I think all year what has been an issue has unfortunately been that play down low. Now, I think Claron, he does not have to do too much. I think he just has to do some traditional big man things. He just has to go out there, grab some boards, catch some lobs, just be on the pick and roll. I think that Hornbeek can be a really big X factor for them going into the MAC tournament and even finishing out the regular season. But right now, I think a lot of it is riding on him.
Absolutely. I think Claron Hornbeek or Von Cameron Davis could also be a really big part of it. But, we've got more than one team here at Kent State who's playing basketball right now. How'd the women do on Saturday?
Well, let's take a look, because the first head of that doubleheader was another senior night. As we congratulated the seniors, one of those seniors, Abby Ogle, went coast to coast and going up for the score. Ogle finished with 4 points and 4 rebounds. It's really big defensively, too. We'll get into that later, but Katie Shoemate, she passes to Bridget Dunn, who hits that 3. Dunn finished with 2 threes on the game. Now let's take a look at the Buffalo side of things, because Chelio Watson, she would end up hitting that 3. She would have 16 points and 5 rebounds. In case you couldn't get enough of her, let's take a look at this nice little mid-range jumper as it goes right in. All right, back to the flashes. That's what we want to see. And speaking of the flashes, Katie Shoemate passing to Jenna Batch. Right in the corner there, Jenna Batch had 14 points for the flashes. She was pretty big. All right, let's go back to Ogle, who passed to Shoemate. As they say, some give and some take. In this case, Shoemate did both, because Shoemate, she finished with a couple points of her own, and with the and one, Elena Meyer. I mean, she is just pumped. All right, back to the Buffalo side of things. Kristen Lewis-Williams gets stripped by Abby Ogle. Ogle had 3 steals on the game, and to top it all off, Janae Tyler passed to Bridget Dunn, who gets an and one. Dunn had a double-double for the game, and Buffalo would be defeated by Kent State 67-59. Ring the bell, roll flashes.
In spite of 19 turnovers and a little bit of sloppy play, I thought we did a really good job. We never didn't have the lead in the game. I thought we came out at the beginning of the game and we established ourselves early. Our lapses in play were smaller and less significant than they've been in a couple of games in recent memory. But overall, I'm just really proud of these 3.
The Kent State baseball team traveled to Jacksonville, Alabama for the final series in their opening season road trip. The Flashes took the first 2 games of the series before losing the third one 5-2. Despite the loss, senior Tim Orr went 3 for 4 at bat, and redshirt senior Josh Johnson hit a solo home run. The Flashes will return to action tomorrow as they welcome in the Tiffin Dragons for their home opener.
We'll keep it on the diamond with softball. Kent State fell to Southeastern Louisiana 6-5 in the final game of the Ole Miss Classic on Sunday. Starting sophomore Macy Ireland retired the first 6 batters she faced and kept the Flashes in the game, but the Lions used a long ball with a homer in the 6th to seal it. Kent State will go back on the road next weekend for 5 scheduled games at the Catamount Classic, hosted by Western Carolina.
The Kent State lacrosse team fell 16-4 against Cincinnati Sunday afternoon in the Queen City. Peyton Gellin was able to put the Flashes on the board late in the first quarter after the Bearcats scored 5. Jackie Wolford got herself a hat trick on the day, along with an assist. Despite the loss, goalkeeper Ella Gravitt made a career high of 13 saves. Up next, the Flashes return to Dick Stadium for a pair of contests against Longwood on Thursday, March 7th at 4 p.m. and Bucknell.
And from the field to the mats, the Kent State Gymnastics scored a much-needed conference win, in the process posting the second highest score in program history to beat conference foe Eastern Michigan, 197.2 to 196.425. This marks just the 3rd time in school history and the 2nd time this season that the Golden Flashes have eclipsed the 197 mark. Kent State goes back on the road next weekend, traveling to face Western Michigan on Sunday, March 10th.
Teeing off to golf, redshirt senior Chris Van Det has been named MAC Men's Golfer of the Week. Van Det won the individual title at the Dorado Beach Collegiate this past Sunday and Monday, shooting a -14 through 36 holes to sit atop the 107-player field. Next up for Chris and the Flashes will be the General Jim Hackler Championship in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. We've now got a fun new weekly segment for you. Every week, we are going to guess the Flash. This is going to be a Kent State alumni. Let's get right into it. You guys will learn along with us. So, guess the Golden Flash. Kent State men's basketball, averaging 14.9 points, 4 rebounds, 5.1 assists, 41.9% field goal percentage, played for Kent State 2021-2023, currently plays overseas. Sensier Carey or Myron Thomas?
I'm going to go with Myron Thomas.
I'm going to go Sensier Carey.
Oh, it was Sensier Carey.
Sensier Carey. Okay. All right. Who do we have next?
No.
Oh, that's it? That's the only one we've got. I apologize.
Well, the Cleveland Cavaliers hosted the New York Knicks without Donovan Mitchell. We'll see if they could get it done without their all-star in the land.
Kids will spend 15 minutes watching online videos like this one.
Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. 2 minutes twice a day. They have the time.
Hey, you.
Yeah, you. Getting that college education? What are you gonna do? Graduate and take some office job? Be like everybody else?
Or will you dare do something different?
Like, be a teacher. You could be my teacher. You got the skills. The smarts.
Yes, you.
You could be the teacher I never forget.
That'd be cool.
Does that corporate job even have recess? What are you gonna make of yourself?
What are you gonna make of me?
Welcome back. The Cavs look to keep their winning ways alive against the New York Knicks with them on their tails in the Eastern Conference standings. We'll take it down to Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse because, unfortunately, the basketball gods were not kind to this game. Jalen Brunson, he would injure his left knee on that jump shot. It would end up being a left knee contusion. It's not too bad, but unfortunately, he would end up missing the remainder of that game. The Knicks would have to go deep into their bench. And I'll tell you what, the bench, they showed up. Dante DiVincenzo hits that three. He had 28 points on the game. You all want to see the Cavs bench. Sam Merrill has been a fan favorite. He had 21 points on the game, leading the Cavs. And Darius Garland as well, hitting that three. He had 19 points for the game. Now, we want to see some three-point shots. Well, Darius Garland, he would hit another three. But I mean, look at this shot right here from Josh Hart. It's a gutsy step-back three. He had a triple-double for the game, over Evan Mobley, too. And to top it all off, Miles McBride, who ended up replacing Jalen Brunson, hits that three. He would end up playing 47 minutes, and the Cavs would drop to the Knicks 107-98.
Hello, NBA fans. I'm Pat Sartor. And from a battle between LeBron and Joker in the West to Maxey and Luka sparring in Dallas, and the young gunning Thunder facing off against KD and Booker out in the West. Grab a seat, plop yourself on the sofa, or just stand in front of the screen. But regardless, join us as we go around the NBA. We'll start right here in LA, and LeBron was chasing that illustrious 40,000 points. And it's LeBron to open things up with an alley-oop to Anthony Davis way up and brings it way down into the basket here. Here's LeBron this time now. Spin left hand smooth off the glass for the finish. Very good on the two there. And then it was the moment we were all waiting for, the fans, those on TV viewing. There it was, 40,000 points for LeBron. Now here on the outside corner, it's Michael Porter Jr. crashes down in the corner, hits the three to go up, and here's Jokic. Of course, why not a three for him? Incredible what we see from Jokic. And where's the circus here for this one, folks? Roll him out, 100 feet in the air it seemed, off the glass, good for two by Jokic. A circus shot there, Reeves, the three-point bandit over there, scoring one home and really making this contentious as we got down into the fourth. Michael Porter Jr. over in the corner again, hits another three, bringing this one really closely. And then here you see again Jokic inside the paint, rolling up to Gordon, and the assist over LeBron James there. And the embrace from the two of them, Jokic looking battered and bruised there, but leads with the dub.
We now head out to Dallas with the Mavericks hosting the Philadelphia 76ers. Let's get into it. Tyrese Maxey, he gets a quick screen from Paul Reed here, weaves past Daniel Gafford for the lay, and Maxey with a quick fake. He's going to throw off Dante Exum. He gets a jumper, nets the triple, and the Sixers are up by 9. Kelly Oubre Jr., new addition to the Sixers with the rock. He drives and gets the slam to put Philly up by 14. He finished with 21 points in the game. Luka with the rock drives to the baseline, swings it out to Derek Jones Jr. for the corner three to cut the deficit to 13 points. Jones with 21 points off the Dallas bench. Luka dribbles, step back three. He hits the bank shot, and Dallas begins to mount their comeback. Down 9 with 4:22 to play. Luka with the triple-double. Nothing new there. Dallas down by 7. Kyrie into the paint, pulls up, gets the jumper. The Philly lead is now down to 5, but it would prove too much. Tobias Harris, three-pointer from the corner here. That will ice it for the Sixers. They get the win 120-116 over the Dallas Mavericks.
Take things to the West Coast for a late night Sunday matchup with the Thunder traveling to Phoenix to take on the Suns. Here's what you want to see. Chet Holmgren, the redshirt rookie, he had 14 and 9, including this and one. Suns took an early lead, but Isaiah Joe in transition, he would hit a big three to put the Thunder up 3. Now, what you want to see, Bradley Beal throws a dime to the other team. Josh Giddey passes to J-Dub. Jalen Williams hit 22 points on the night. Not too shabby for the second-year man. Now, Kevin Durant, a bit of an off night for him, only 20 points. And Bradley Beal, though, he would be the one to shine for the Suns with 31 points. Now this guy right here, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, an MVP contender. He had 35, 8, and 9, including, look at this fall away shot. He had 3 guys close out on them. Now would he score again? Let's take a look. Rolls and, oh, looks like Grayson Allen just drew an offensive foul. May have sold that a little bit. Well, that would have been called back anyway, but it didn't really matter too much because the Thunder would end up winning 118 to 110. Currently, the Thunder are the first seed in the Western Conference right now. Well, any chance Luka can win the MVP this year?
Well, it's going to be close, right? In the West, it's so tight between Jokic, Luka, and SGA right now. But let's look at the stats. We got to go to the paper on this one. Jokic averaging 25 points a game, SGA 31, Luka 34. You move over to rebounds. Jokic 12, SGA 5, Luka 8. Over to assists, Jokic 9, SGA 6, Luka 9. So when you look statistically speaking, Luka's right there. He's got the most points. Everyone loves to see a flashy score. You look at rebounds, Jokic obviously with the size, you'd hope so. He has him beat that way. And assists, he's beating the 3 there. But here's the problem. When you look at the standings, and what's good about this too, all from the West. So we can kind of analyze this hyper specifically, right? Because all these players from the same conference, those matchups are going to be a little bit more similar. But here's how he can do it. With the Mavs in the 8th spot, we see the Thunder at the top spot, and then the Nuggets are at 3. Right now, they're just 2.5 games separate the top 4 teams in the West. So if you can find a way to get into those top 4 teams, you'll be okay. So you're at the 8th seed right now, but with a top 3 finish, I think that could really propel Luka's conversation with the MVP, because unless they're I'd have to say 3 seed, they're not going to give Luka any sort of award for that.
You know what? We've got a lot of great MVP candidates all out of the West. Now let's shift our focus to the East. Pat, who do you think is going to represent the East in the conference finals?
Well, again, important. They got to go to the notes on this one, right? So the 5th seed, the Sixers, right? 35-25. Knicks, the 4 seed, 36-25. Cavs, the 3 seed, 39-21. And the Bucks, the 2 seed, 40-21. And the Bucks 2 seed, 40-21. The Cavs, 39-21. Celtics, the 1 seed at 48-12. And really, when you look at what the Celtics are doing in the East, nobody comes closer than Boston is 8.5 games ahead of the competition. The experience and the depth, whether it matter Al Horford, Derek White, KCP came in, Kristaps Porzingis came in, and did so much better than a lot of people expected them to do, right? Him to do. He wasn't really necessarily brought in to be a mega superstar, but he has stretches where he's playing like that. Really phenomenal for them. So when you talk about rebounding, you talk about defense, experience, star play, depth. The Celtics blow everybody in the East out of the water when it comes to that. Whether it be the Knicks, injuries hurt them so much. Sixers, injuries, depth, they don't have it. The Cavs, inconsistent play. And right now, the Celtics, not just the East, but my favorite to win it all.
Wow.
I mean, I definitely agree with you there, Pat.
I thought you might.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys who seem to go on a heater after the All-Star break. Are there any guys that you think are having great stretches that deserve more hype as of late?
Well, seemingly every time I'm on Sportscorner, I'll throw a name out that'll get a reaction from somebody, and I'm going to do that right now. Josh Hart. Okay, stop. Hold on a second. Don't say what. What this man's doing right now is absolutely incredible. Josh Hart with rebounds, he's averaging 10 at the moment. 10 rebounds, that's 3 more than any season average he's ever had in the last 10 games. Josh Hart, incredible as of late in this month of February, in this month of March. 14 points and 6 assists. With Julius Randle out, he really stepped up incredibly to provide the spark they need. And then real quick, Wemby, of course, he had that 10-block game on February 12th, and of course he had 14 rebounds with that. It's not just that he's blocking 10 shots, he's getting the ball, he's rebounding the ball, and he's scoring points. He's the lone bright spot on that Spurs team, and next year, if they can get any solid remnants of a point guard, we might see them push for the playoffs or maybe even the play-in.
Well, thank you so much, Pat. I have a feeling we'll be seeing you more later. And history was made against Ohio State. What record Caitlin Clark broke, and if Iowa came out on top?
Fancy pants peanut butter? A big screen television? You haven't even bought a sofa yet. A motorcycle? When your father finds out, he's gonna flip his shoes with 2 buckles? What do you even need 2 buckles for? Mr. Big Shot, buying whiskey shots for everybody in the bar. From the looks of it, I'd say nobody even remembers. Feed the pig.
How's your hair? Is it pretty?
Daddy.
It's pretty.
Maybe honestly.
Welcome back. It was a rematch between two conference foes in the Big Ten as Iowa State took on Caitlin Clark and the Iowa Hawkeyes. Let's head to the Carver Hawkeye Arena for the highlight. Big crowd there looking to see if Caitlin Clark will break the D1 all-time scoring record. She is 14 points away from breaking Pistol Pete Maravich's record and further cementing herself in history. We pick things up tied at 7. Clark wing 3 to give Iowa the lead. Clark with the ball. Big outlet pass to Hannah Stelke for the layup and the and one. Look at the replay. Clark using her power to find Stelke, who flips it up and in. Iowa leads by 13. Clark near the Hawkeye logo. Deep triple. That's money. Iowa continuing their dominance, but Ohio State not going down without a fight. Celeste Taylor knocks down the triple and cuts Iowa's lead to 4. Now this has been really controversial. Look at number 32 here. Cody McMahon gives Clark a little shove there. That sends her to the free throw line and makes history. Some call it a soft call, but I'll leave that to social media to debate it. Clark breaks the D1 all-time scoring record, but we've got a game to get to. JC Sheldon on the fast break roars back to cut Iowa's lead to 5 in the third, but a rough stretch for OSU leaves Iowa up by 10. Now 13 with a 3 from Clark, and that will do it. Iowa takes down the number 2 ranked Buckeyes and wins it 93-83. Caitlin Clark finished with 35 points.
Good evening, Portage County. My name is Maddox Miller. March Madness is just around the corner, so let's see who picked up some wins this weekend on the hardwood. We begin with the number 1 ranked Houston Cougars tipping off against the unranked Oklahoma Sooners in Oklahoma. Houston looking for another Big 12 win. Latrey Darthard would find Jalen Moore for the and one layup as Oklahoma tries to pull off the massive upset against the number 1 team in the country. Very tough finish. Sam Godwin would set the screen for Javion McCollum, who would look around, throw the alley-oop, and Godwin catches it to cut the Cougars' lead, 74-65. Oklahoma trying to pull off a miracle here. McCollum would kick to Darthard in the corner, pump fake, got him jumping. Corner 3, nothing but net. Again, Oklahoma storming back, trying to make a comeback. Can they do it? Late in the second half, they would get a chance to tie the game right here. Inbound ball, he's looking. Layup, gets it, tied ball game, 11.8 in the game, but this does give the Houston Cougars another chance to try and win the game right here. And they would take that chance as Jamal Shed would look, miss it. The ball falls on the ground, no one has it, Shed picks it up, fade away, gets it. 0.1 seconds, giving Houston the 87-85 victory, maintaining their dominance across the nation as they look to propel this momentum into the March Madness tournament.
Now we take things to the SEC as the number 4 ranked Tennessee takes on number 14 Alabama. Now, what you all want to see, Zakai Ziegler. He passes the ball to who else? Nothing but Dalton Connect, who slams it right back to give the Bulls a 4-point lead. He had 13 points on the game. Now we want to see some other guys shoot the rock though, because it was Santiago Viscosi, ese hombre de Uruguay. Yes, the Uruguayan scored 8 points. The Bulls lead by 9. Now, let's get some Alabama players in here because Jaren Stevenson, he had 3. Those would be his only points for the game. All right, now towards the end, finishing out the half, it would be Aaron Estrada. The ball would go in, and let's take things to the second half because Sam Walters, the freshman, dunks over Jonas Adu, tied are up 55-51. All right, but after all, Tennessee is ranked number 4 because Zakai Ziegler and Dalton Connect would connect on a pick and roll, and he would hit a 3. Ziegler had 18 points on the game. And now let's take it. Ziegler to Meshack. See, Ziegler had 4 assists on the game, including that dime as well. And I mean, let's take a look at this. This is just textbook ball movement. The ball moves around the perimeter, and it would end up finding Josiah Jordan-James for a corner 3. James had himself 11 and 3, a double-double. Tennessee would go on to win that game, 81-74. But you know what? I'd like to know what's happening out in the Big 12.
That's right. We've got the Kansas Jayhawks visiting the Baylor Bears. Let's get into it. Boy, this game was a doozy. Baylor is up by 3 in the first. KJ Adams gets the rock. He's going to dish it to Hunter Dickinson under the basket. 2-hand slam. That pulls the Jayhawks within 2 with 6:10 left to play. Jaden Nunn looking for Ray J. Dennis, but Kevin McCullough Jr. gets the steal, goes coast to coast for the layup. Kansas goes up by 1. Ray J. Dennis driving, swings it out to Nunn. He knocks down a triple, and Baylor goes up by 8. McCullough has the ball, tries to pass, but here comes Ray J. Dennis. The Toledo transfer soars down the court, and he gets the basket. Dennis with 19 points for the Bears. We've got under 2 minutes to play. DeJuan Harris surrounded by Baylor defenders, but he still gets the reverse layup to pull Kansas within 4. But the Baylor Bears simply too dominant. Dennis with a jumper in the paint, and that will do it. The Bears win it 82-74.
All right, now let's take a look at the men's AP Top 10. Purdue and UConn, they flip-flop spots in the standings. Iowa State, they go from 8 to 6. However, Marquette would end up dropping 3 spots from last week. And Creighton, they jumped 2 spots to put themselves in the top 10.
Now taking things to the women's top 10, Iowa jumps to 3 after their win over the Buckeyes. Texas drops 3 spots thanks to a 75-57 win against Wake Forest. North Carolina State now finds themselves also in this graphic, rounded it out at 10. And Maddox, with March Madness approaching, who is a team in the top 25 that could have an early exit?
We actually looked at their highlights just a few seconds ago. I think Alabama.
Okay.
They have the most losses out of any top 25 team. They sit at 20-9. That's 1 more loss than a lot of the other teams with 8 losses. They only have 1 ranked win against a now ranked Florida. They have multiple ranked losses, which can be seen as good losses, which is a debate in college basketball, but I see it as a team that cannot pick up major wins against big-time teams, which can come and hurt you later on in March Madness. Now, senior guard and Ohio transfer Mark Sears is averaging a little over 20 points a game, but I still see a very, very early exit, maybe a 2nd or 3rd round exit for this Crimson Tide basketball team. Now, if they can maybe pick up some big wins in these last 2 games and in the SEC tournament, then that can absolutely change for them. But other than that, I see an early exit for the Crimson Tide.
You know, Maddox, it feels like every single year that there's some low-ranked, not highly touted team that ends up making a run in March Madness. Who do you think people need to take more serious in the tournament?
I think the South Carolina Gamecocks are absolutely a team that should be a little more highly looked at, currently ranked 17th. They have 3 ranked wins against Tennessee, Kentucky, and Florida, which, as mentioned, they are no longer ranked. But Kentucky and Tennessee, we looked at Tennessee earlier, they're in the top 5. They have 5 losses, which only 2 other teams in the top 25 have. And outside of those 3 teams, which is South Carolina and 2 others, there's only 3 losses between the top 3 teams. So that means having 5 losses is only the 2nd most losses of across the top 25. I think this is very good for the Gamecocks. They proved that they can beat good SEC teams, which can also help them in the tournament to increase their seeding. I see no reason for the South Carolina team to not make a decently far run against the SEC and in March itself. We have to obviously see it on the court.
Absolutely. Well, as you mentioned, there are 3 teams with 3 losses, all ranked in the top 3. So which of these 3 do you think has the best odds to win?
I think UConn is going the furthest. Now, the 3 teams we're talking about are Purdue, Houston, and UConn. Purdue, they're very talented, but they just have that taste of past failures, and I don't see them overcoming that past. I would like to see it, but I just can't see it happening. Houston, we just watched, struggled with an unranked Oklahoma team. Now, that's not to say UConn hasn't had their fair share of struggles. They've lost to an unranked team, but 2 of their 3 losses have been against ranked teams. They won it all last year. I see no reason for them not to go deep again, and between Houston, Purdue, and UConn, I just like the Huskies the most because Purdue's past failures and Houston showing maybe some recent cracks, and I don't really see why UConn ever dropped from the 1 spot in the first place. I think they should still be ranked the #1 team in the country.
Well, thank you so much, Maddox. And for this week's Mid-Major Spotlight, we'll be highlighting Utah State. They're the first in the Mountain West and are ranked at number 22. The Aggies have won the last 5 of their 6 games, including a win over number 21 ranked San Diego State. Their last win was against Air Force to a final score of 72-60. To finish out the season, Utah State will face San Jose State and New Mexico. And do I smell coffee in here?
You absolutely do, Michael Needham. Good evening, Portage County. It's Crespo Coffee Hour time. Are you ready? If not, you better wake up and get ready. I am your host, Nico Crespo. Now, this isn't your regular coffee hour because I won't be spitballing takes at you tonight, but I will be ranking the American League teams in the MLB before the start of the season, which might not be what the average coffee hour is like, but I think it's time to switch things up. And at number 15, we got, in dead last of the MLB, the Oakland A's. They came in last in the MLB, 50 and 112 last year. Their bright spot is going to be Brent Rooker, the outfielder. He has plenty of pop. Other than that, there's nothing worth watching. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these bottom of the barrel teams. Number 14, we got the White Sox, 61 and 101 last year. Their MVP for this season is going to be Luis Robert, and an honorable mention of Dylan Cease. He will also be traded this season. I have no doubts about it. Great American Ballpark, the worst in the league, in my opinion. They're winning at most 62 games. Sorry, Liv. 13, Angels. They went 73 and 89 last year. The MVP, of course, is Mike Trout. And big headlines this offseason. They lost Shohei Ohtani. They're nothing more than a mediocre team. It's a shame they wasted Trout's prime. Only one playoff appearance in Trout's tenure in Los Angeles. They made no big signings this offseason. And Artie Moreno, you got to sell the team, buddy. Boston Red Sox coming in at number 12, 78 and 84 last season, fourth in the AL East. Their MVP will be Rafael Devers. That's probably the only bright spot they have on that team. They signed Liam Hendricks. That's pretty much it, what they did in the offseason. They trade Verdugo to the Yankees. Don't really get that. Again, they're going to come in last in the AL East because it's just a top division. And words from Michael Neenan, he says, sell the team. Number 11 comes from Kansas. It's going to be Kansas City Royals. The MVP for this team is going to be Bobby Witt Jr. Just got an extension this offseason. And the Royals, they spent money this offseason. Hunter Renfroe and Seth Lugo. Bobby Witt, he's going to be a generational talent. They're still rebuilding, but they will be a scary team come to the future. And number 10, we got the Seattle Mariners. They were 88 and 74. Their MVP, of course, Julio Rodriguez. They're the definition of mid. Pitching, they won't hang on to these tough offenses like Texas and Toronto and Houston. They only got Logan Gilbert. Maybe Matt Brash can do something, but that's all they really have. The hitting, they're probably going to take a step back. They just don't have enough there. They also made no signings in the offseason. Number 9, Tampa Bay Rays. They were 99 and 63 last season, but they got rid of Tyler Glasnow and Manuel Margot to the Dodgers. I again, don't really get the move. Their MVP is Shane McClanahan. He's going to have a great season if he can get healthy in time. They, again, have nothing except for Rosarena and McClanahan. Maybe Yandy Diaz can do another great season. And the next 3 teams are going to come from the AL Central. Detroit coming in at number 8, 78 and 84, second in the AL Central last year. AL Central, of course, the definition of mid. Their MVP, Therese Gubel, the starting pitcher. He's going to be nasty. Hit 99 earlier in spring training. I'm scared to face him as a Guardians fan. The prospects will shine. Spencer Torkelson, Kerry Carpenter, and Riley Green, all going to be great prospects for them. Their pitching is dangerous, even after losing Eduardo Rodriguez to the Arizona Diamondbacks. Casey Mize is going to be a wonderful pitcher. Same with Skubal. And Kenta Maeda could eat some innings for them. And then their downgrade, obviously Javier Baez. He's not going to do anything. He's just eating up money from Detroit. They're a sleeper AL team that could make the playoffs. Number 7, the Minnesota Twins. Their MVP is going to be Carlos Correa. They were 87 and 75 last season. Pitching, very good. They had Pablo Lopez, Joe Ryan, Bailey Ober. Other than that, it's falling off a cliff. Can Byron Buxton stay healthy? The world may never know. It seems like he's injured every year. And then can Eduardo Julian and Royce Lewis make that jump? 6, we have the Cleveland Guardians. 78-86 MVP J-Ram. They're going to get carried by that offense of J-Ram and Josh Naylor. Best pitching staff in baseball if they stay healthy. Number 5, we have the Yankees. 82-80 last year, a little down season. MVP Juan Soto. Can the outfielders stay healthy? Aaron Judge and Stanton needs to stay healthy. Number 4, Baltimore Orioles. They were the best team in the AL. Let's see if they could do it again. MVP Corbin Burns and Adley Rutschman. I mean, they just need more pitching. No Felix Bautista. It's a little scary. Number 3, the Houston Astros. Their MVP is going to be Yordan Alvarez. Their pitching scares me outside of Valdez and Javier. Number 2, Toronto Blue Jays. They're going to be the second best team in baseball. Pitching is going to take a huge step. Vlad Jr. again. I think he's going to win the MVP this season. And then number 1, Texas Rangers. I mean, they're just going to be the best team in the AL. They hit their lineup. Their top three is going to be Semien, Seager, and Adolis Garcia. I mean, I don't get it if you're a pitcher and you want to face that lineup. So, but that makes up for the AL. Stay tuned next week when I rank the National League. I've been your host, Nico Crespo, and as always, keep sipping.
Thank you, Nico. The New York Rangers took on the Toronto Maple Leafs on Saturday. Could the Leafs take down the Red Hot Rangers? Find out when Sportscorner returns.
There's a lot of fear in coming back to school. I'm a 40-year-old man that walked in there to get his high school diploma. It was very hard for me, but one of the teachers was Miss Araceli. She gave me direction. Every single time I had a question, she'll put down whatever she's doing and she'll sit there with you until you get it. 50% of getting your high school diploma is walking through those doors. The other 50% is doing the work.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
The black truck? Hey, Christina from accounting.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, I used to date a girl named Christina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then she dumped me for my best friend. You want to see some photos of them that I took?
I don't.
I thought we talked about this, buddy.
Buzzed and overshared again?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna call a car.
That's a smart idea.
So yeah, I know, that's why I did it.
Hey, you're gonna get back to the top of the mountain.
Does that mean I'm gonna get back with Christina?
No.
Oh.
No.
Welcome back. It's warming up outside, but the ice is still frigid for hockey as two Eastern Conference Titans squared up on Saturday. Let's head to Scotiabank Arena for the highlights. That's right, it's the Rangers and the Leafs who pick things up, score tied at 1. Alexis Lafreniere of the Rangers has the puck. He swings it to Vincent Trocheck, who shoots and scores. Rangers take a 2-1 lead. Leafs looking to even the score, and they do so off a wrister from William Nylander from way far out. Look at the replay here. Igor Shesterkin saw it coming way too late, and we are tied back up at 2. We head to the third. Morgan Riley shoots the puck and it rebounds off the back of the rink. Callie Yarncroke gets the puck. He takes a shot on goal and John Tavares tips it in. The Rangers pull their goalie. They have an empty net. They are looking for the equalizer. Once again, Lafreniere to Trocheck, and it's a goal. That means we head to overtime and then a shootout. We are tied 1-1 in the shootout. It's Max Domi with the wrister through the 5-hole, and the Leafs take a 2-1 lead, but the Rangers have one last chance. Trocheck is going to take the shot on goal, but Samsonov gets the block, and the Leafs win and improve to 35-17-8 and win 4-3 in the shootout.
All right, now we take things to the West Coast. I mean, it's a beautiful night in Dallas. Great time to watch some hockey. All right, now William Eklund on a breakaway. He shoots and scores off his own rebound. I mean, the Sharks take an early 1-0 lead, but I mean, the Stars, they're a good team. They're not going to stay down for long. Magnus Krona, he thought he saved it, but Radek Faksa, he put it right back in to tie things up at 1 apiece. All right, Filip Zadina, he spins and he shoots. Oh, did that go in? Okay, we need to take a second look at that. The refs originally said no, but then eventually they said this did go in. Was this a goal? I'll let you guys be the judge of that. Wouldn't matter too much because on a power play, Stars, Jamie Benn wins the face-off, and Jason Robertson scores immediately right off the post. I mean, look at that. That is a pure goal score right there. Ties things up. And this would end up going to overtime and eventually a shootout. 7 rounds to none other than Jamie Benn, though, the captain. He scores, and the Stars would end up winning 3-2. Stars are currently tied for first.
Finally, we've got the Tampa Bay Lightning taking on the Montreal Canadiens. We pick things up in the first. Caden Gooley with the puck pushes it past Victor Hedman to Joel Armia, who scores off the wrister. Canadiens on offense once again. Gallagher with the puck near the board sends it over to Jake Evans and scores off the wrister over the arm of Andrei Vasilevsky, and the Canadiens take a 2-0 lead. Lightning looking for their first goal. Nikita Kucherov with the puck around the left side passes it to Steven Stamkos. He dishes it to Braden Point, who gets himself a point with this goal. Tampa trails 2-1. Later in the second, Brandon Hagel moving around Arbor Jacaj. He passes to Anthony Cirelli, who shoots and scores. We are tied at 2 goals apiece. Montreal up by 1 there on the power play. Tyler Mott steals the puck. The Lightning are shorthanded, but that's no problem for Mott. We are tied up at 3, and you know what that comes next. We've got a shootout, tied at 1, round 6. Hedman skating for the Lightning, and he's got a wrister goal to put the Lightning up 2-1. All Vasilevsky needs is a save to get the comeback win, and Joshua Roy's shot gets blocked, and the Lightning win 4-3 in the shootout.
Well, Liv, you know, We are. It is post All-Star break. You know what we never talked about? We never talked about our picks for Vezina Trophy.
All
So
right.
who's your pick for the Vezina Trophy this season?
My pick is Thatcher Demko. I think he is a big part of the Canucks' success. They're the top of the Pacific, 39, 17, and 7. Demko has 31 wins. That's tied most in the league. He's always been a really good goalie, but he's kind of been overshadowed by the fact that the Canucks have been a really bad team, shall we say. Plus, he was struggling with injury all through last year, never really got to his highest potential. But now I think he's starting to get there. He's got a 91.4 save percentage, 5 shutouts. That's the second most in the league. Tristan Jarry leads the league with 6. He's got 2.5 goals against average, which, you know, isn't great. Plenty have better averages, but I think he's finally putting the pieces together, and I think this could be his year. Who's your pick?
You know, I think the guy that is ultimately going to win it is Connor Hellebuyck. I think he gets his second Vezina Trophy of his career. Right now, the Jets, they've actually allowed the fewest goals of any team. I think they're going to end up winning the Jennings Trophy. Now, as for Hellebuyck, though, I mean, this guy, of all the eligible goalies, he's leading the league in save percentage. He's also leading the league in goals against average.
Right.
But most importantly, he's actually leading the league in goals allowed above expected by a very wide margin, by about 20%,
Wow.
I believe. Yeah, this guy, he's such a beast. I mean, it feels like he's been a total workhorse for the Jets every single season. I feel like he's had an argument most of the time, but this year in particular, this has been the best season of his career. I think that this is the year that Connor Hellebuyck gets his second Vezina Trophy, and I would stake money on it, actually.
You would?
I would, actually.
Place a bet on it?
I will. Possibly.
Well, I know he's the betting odds. I went more dark horse here, but I believe Hellebuyck is in the lead right now for odds.
He is. You know what, Liv? Let's talk about some Stanley Cup Finals predictions. Liv, who do you think is going to make it to the Stanley Cup Finals and who wins?
You know what? I'm going to agree with you. Rangers and Golden Knights. I think that the Rangers have just truly been red hot. They've been absolutely insane so far this season. I'm going to say I think the Rangers win the Stanley Cup Final. What do you think?
You know, I think that is a good pick. Like I said a couple weeks ago, I think that New York Rangers and the Vegas Golden Knights are going to be facing in the Stanley Cup Finals. I think that the Golden Knights, even though they have a bit of a slump, that team just really is built for a playoff run. Where we do disagree, though, I do think that Golden Knights will end up winning back-to-back Stanley Cups.
Wow.
I mean, listen, I am a huge fan of this team. They are just that classic defensive-oriented team that is built for the playoffs. That's what I say. But coming up, the NFL Combine was this weekend, but our own Ryan Shanko is here to talk about a player who decided not to participate in the Combine. Here's more coming up.
Roll over. Chance high five. All right.
When you adopt a shelter pet, you discover all the things that make them unique.
And your mother and...
I am totally a hot person. Right, guys? Thanks for being honest. They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love. Adopt pure love at theshelterpetproject.org.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly and put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive and welcome back to Sports Corner. I'm Ryan Shenko, and today we're going to look at LSU quarterback and Heisman winner Jayden Daniels. And today on the Deep Dive, we're going to do a little film analysis, so let's not waste any more time. So I picked 3 plays from one of LSU's games last season. It's against Ole Miss. And let's go ahead and roll that first clip. So it's in the first quarter of this game. It's a 3rd down. And Daniels, he does a great job stepping up in the pocket, but I want you to stop it right here. Right there, 2 guys are on him. It's 3rd down. They're in field goal range, down 7. I want Jayden to feel that pressure and just go down, slide, or even just tumble forward. Instead, roll it. We're going to see what happens. Yeah, that's not what you want from your guy who you're going to take with a top 5 pick. That is just a massive collision, and it's a turnover on top of that. So we're going to move on to the next clip. And I'd like everyone to think that it's going to be a little bit different, so let's go ahead and roll that. See, they're up in this situation too.
So they're up, or no, they're still down 3, and we're gonna pause it right here. He's got the first down. He has the first down by a little bit. He can just skirt right out of bounds, or slide, either or. But go ahead and play it. It's another huge hit on the sideline, and that's one of the things that I have an issue with Jaden Daniels. He does not slide, and he takes a lot of big hits, and he takes a lot of sacks as well. And then for this next clip, it's probably more of an issue it's probably the biggest issue that I have with Daniels. So you see in the slot, that first receiver, it's this guy right here. That is Brian Thomas. He's a projected first-round pick, and he's going to be running a slot fade. Let's go ahead and roll that clip. When Jaden Daniels takes this snap, his head locks on to Brian Thomas for the entire play. And by the time he gets to coming off of Brian Thomas, he's got a cornerback hanging off his back, loses the ball. He gets very lucky that he's able to get back on top of that. And that's a big issue for him. He locks onto that one receiver, he gets indecisive, and when he decides to come off of that receiver, it ends up leading to turnover-worthy plays and sacks. So now, well, we've talked about some of his weaknesses as a player, but I want to spend some time telling you about his good side. So Jaden Daniels is a guy who's got great velocity and spin on the ball. He has an absolutely huge arm. When you watch him throw the ball, you can tell he's a pure thrower, and he's an NFL thrower. Another thing that makes him unique is his ability on the ground. He's a guy that you can run RPOs for, you can run designed runs for, and he's absolutely deadly in the open field. But like I talked about earlier, when he finds contact, he does not know how to slide. He's going to take that contact, and he's not the biggest guy, only weighs 210 pounds. So he's going to get lit up by NFL linebackers and safeties. But back to throwing the ball, I think he has got the best deep ball in the class, at least accuracy-wise. When he lets one go down the field, it is absolutely a thing of beauty. And he's also really good at getting the ball out in rhythm within the structure of the offense. And he's also above average at creating for himself outside of the structure of that offense. So when it comes to Daniels, he's trying to make plays out of structure. He can roll out, he can step up in the pocket. And even though I spent some time going over his flaws, I think there's a few more things I should mention about Daniels that makes me worried about how he'll project to the next level. So, I mean, he played with elite talent and in quarterback-friendly schemes throughout college, both at Arizona State and at LSU. He played with Malik Neighbors, Brandon Ayuk, Brian Thomas, and Ricky Pearsall. He's already 23 years old. He's going to be 24 as a rookie, so the room for development is not there. When I watch him on film, I don't see an elite processor. I don't see a guy who can read and react to NFL defenses. And I worry about how he's going to do that after they get film on him. So I spent a lot of time talking about things that Daniel struggles with, but I like him as a prospect. I just think he's getting overrated because of the offense he played in last year. To me, he's the third best quarterback in the class, but Drake May and Caleb Williams are both way beyond him in terms of both their floors and their ceilings as a player. I do think he can succeed in the league, but he's going to need to play in an offense that A, throws the ball a lot, and B, has multiple dynamic playmakers on offense. So to me, that's why I think Daniels fits really, really well in the type of offense that the Vikings run up in Minnesota. I think the Vikings should do everything they can to try to trade up to third overall so they can get him and not have to worry about anyone else swooping in to get their guy. But that's all I have for you tonight. Thank you guys for coming with me on the deep dive into LSU's Jaden Daniels. And if you can't get enough of the deep dive, follow me on Instagram at First32 Scouting, where I post prospect scouting profiles, mock drafts, and more. But I've been Ryan Shenko. Let's go back to the desk.
Thank you, Ryan. At the NFL Scouting Combine, some of the league's top prospects shined in Indianapolis over the weekend. One in particular was Texas's Xavier Worthy, as he ran the fastest 40-yard dash in history, running a 4.21, beating wide receivers John Ross's time of 4.22 that he set back in 2017. Multiple quarterbacks elected not to run the 40, but a few did, including Notre Dame quarterback Sam Hartman. All right, we welcome back Pat Sartor for a little edition of MLB Guess the Player. We're going to run through an MLB player's career, where they've been, how long they were there, and then we're going to try and figure out who they are. Let's see the first graphic. We've got...
Hope you're good at immaculate grids.
Oh boy. Oakland 2010-2014, Toronto 15-18, Cleveland 2018, Atlanta 2019, Minnesota 2020-21, New York Yankees 2022-2023, Milwaukee 2023. That is a true journeyman. My God.
I want to say, and I'm not saying this because of the noise of some onlookers, but I want to say Josh Donaldson. However, I don't remember him. He wasn't on the Brewers last year, was he? And I don't ever remember him playing for the Guardians. So.
No, not Josh Donaldson. Any guess over there, Nathan?
He's in Milwaukee right now. Traded to Milwaukee. Afraid I don't know this one. I'm gonna have to pass this one. I have no idea. Do you know, Pat?
We said Josh Donaldson, but we're not sure.
Yeah,
about
I don't know.
Josh Donaldson is correct.
Josh Donaldson is correct. All right.
All right.
He just retired today.
I mean,
had an illustrious career.
He must have played 2 games in Cleveland. What was he doing in Cleveland?
Just about.
He was having a cup of coffee with Nico Crespo. That was about it.
All right, next. Cincinnati 2005 to 2009, Toronto 2009 to 2016, Seattle 2017 to 2018. Ooh, finishing the White Sox in 2020. Mariners, Yankees, White Sox.
Is this Jay Bruce?
I'm gonna go with
Edward Encarnacion.
Oh, I don't like Edward.
Oh, that's it.
Oh, goodness,
Nice.
I'm very proud of myself for that one. Oh, goodness, and our last one, we've got Cincinnati, White Sox, Yankees, Mets, Texas, Mets, back to Pittsburgh.
Boy, I hope it isn't Blake Snell. Lord have mercy.
I hope it's not either.
A lot of New York teams.
Well, he retired. He's done.
He's retired. He's done. Retired in
Oh, wait.
2021.
Well, no, he didn't start. I was going to say Andrew McCutchen, but he didn't. No,
No.
of course
No.
not. Of
No.
course not. Of course not.
He was there in 2015.
Start with the Reds. Lord have mercy. I mean, they're bringing out the absolute gargantuan of these questions.
Truly the greatest journeyman of all time.
Mets 2018, 19.
Yankees, then the Mets, Texas, back to the Mets.
Boy. I mean, so he's got to have been. All right, so drafted probably 10 years ago, 10-year career. Average
We're gonna pass here. What's the correct answer? We'll have our producers tell us.
Todd Frazier.
Todd Frazier. Goodness.
He won that home run derby in Cincinnati back in 2014. That's about all the Mets known for. So.
Well, that was fun. Don't go anywhere. We still have empowerment, that crown to hand out, and we have an empowerment first, so you don't want to miss it when we return.
Okay, Dad. 1, 2, 3. You saved me. Dad?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, dear.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
For the first time this semester on Empowerment, we head to the Diamond. That's right, we're talking some softball, and the biggest story in softball this week is the Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns. They went into Norman, Oklahoma, and took down the Sooners, ending their 71-game win streak. For some perspective, Oklahoma has not lost since February 19th, 2023. This Oklahoma team was ranked number 1 coming into yesterday's game, and they had won 3 straight national championships. Yesterday's game went into extra innings where Louisiana turned up the heat with a 3-run inning, and it was up to Chloe Riasetto to send the Sooners packing. Although they got a homer off of Riasetto, she locked in, and with some help from the Cajun defense, Louisiana walked away with an upset win. This victory is a statement for Louisiana, showing their small ball can take down even the biggest of opponents. Softball season has just begun, and I cannot wait to see what else is coming. And for my man on the Silver Mountain, I have chosen Eagles center Jason Kelce, who announced in a heartfelt press conference today that he is retiring from the NFL. The 6-time All-Pro and 7-time Pro Bowler has been an integral part of the Eagles offense for the last 13 years and has become a fan favorite from his podcast, New Heights, with his brother, Travis Kelce. Jason is also a Cleveland native, graduating from Cleveland Heights High School and then the University of Cincinnati. His passion and drive for the game are with a Super Bowl victory in 2017. He is highly regarded as one of the best centers, and we can all say with full certainty there's a gold jacket waiting for him in Canton. Congratulations on a spectacular career. He will be sorely missed, but we know the best is yet to come.
Well, my man on the Silver Mountain should not come to a surprise to absolutely anyone. I have LeBron Raymond James, the kid from Akron, who became the first player in NBA history to score 40,000 points. As you know, on Saturday, LeBron James reached the milestone against the Denver Nuggets, where they unfortunately lost. Now, as you'll also remember, last year LeBron James became the NBA's all-time leading scorer as well in a game against the Oklahoma City Thunder, which they also lost. Now, LeBron James, he does not plan on retiring anytime soon as far as we know. In fact, he may end up leaving the Lakers for another team. But one thing is for sure, that this man, has left his mark on NBA history, and who knows if anyone will break his record again. But enough about the Lakers. Let's talk about my best bets. Blake's not here right now, so instead we're gonna do Mike's best bets. Now, I chose to do a same game parlay for tonight's Bruins versus Maple Leafs game. Now, the hockey gods have spoken to me, and they said that David Pastrnak would not fail to score a goal in 2 straight games. So I said, David Pastrnak will be an anytime goal scorer. Austin Matthews, obviously the guy with 53 goals already, is gonna be a goal scorer. And then I say that the Bruins, they will hit that puck line of plus 1.5. If you are to put $10 on this parlay, you would win $44.50 courtesy of DraftKings.
Well, everyone, it's the first week of March, so what better way to celebrate March than to go through our favorite 4 college basketball teams and figure out which of those all-time favorite teams would win. We've got a whole bunch of people, so let's get into it. I'm going to go first, ladies first, as they say, and I've got a couple of really excellent teams. I've got 2018 Villanova, 2012 Kentucky, 1982 North Carolina, and just, because we love them and it was an excellent team, 2023 Kent State. So if Villanova and Kentucky faced off, I gotta say, I think 2012 Kentucky would take it. If North Carolina and Kent State faced off, I think North Carolina would take it. And purely because Michael Jordan is on the 1982 North Carolina team, I'm gonna have to say that they would win in a hypothetical Final Four scenario. Mike, what were your picks?
Gotta tell you, Liv, that's pretty all-pro. You know what? I decided to keep things close to home. We're gonna talk about Kent State men's basketball team because I chose really some of the Kent State teams from the past couple years, but also that 2002 squad. So, you know what? The 2002 team, they're going to beat this 2024 team pretty easily. That's the best team in French in both program history.
Oh, yeah.
I think the 2023 Kent State Golden Flashes will also beat the 22 Golden Flashes, but I think the 2002 Kent State Golden Flashes are going to be the one to win this bracket. You are Michael Neenan's championship. The 2002 Kent State Golden Flashes.
Wow.
What do you guys got over at the couch?
What do we got? Pat Sartor, who were your picks?
Well, it's tough to beat that. What Neenan just put together, kind of an award-winning slew of teams, right? But mine are a little bit more emotionally involved, I guess you could say. 2012 Kentucky, watching that team was special with Anthony Davis really just running through the competition. I remember watching that clearly with a lot of people. That was fun. Kansas, I have them against, and then Ohio State and Duke squaring off. But overall, number one, it's Ohio. It's Kansas for sure.
Oh, I guess it's my turn now. Okay, it says Nico's team. Okay, so we have 2015 Kentucky with Devin Booker, 2019 Duke with Zion, RJ Barrett, and Cam Reddish, 2011 UConn with Kemba Walker, and the 2023 Kent State basketball team. We're gonna have Duke and UConn facing in the Final Four, or the championship game, and then I have 2019 Duke, of course, taking that game.
And lastly, me, I have 2018 Michigan, which I mentioned on Overtime, 1993 Michigan, which is the Fab Five. Shout out all my OSU fans with 2021 Oral Roberts, and 2022 St. Peter's, the Peacocks lost to North Carolina in the Elite Eight. And then I have 1993 Michigan against 2022 St. Peter's, and obviously the Fab Five is gonna decimate a 2022 St. Peter's team.
I agree with you. I definitely think that would be a pretty vicious game. But gosh, we loved watching the Peacocks a couple years ago, didn't we?
Yeah, absolutely. Liv, what was your favorite bracket of all those?
All of those? I gotta say yours, because I think it takes us back to, a lot of us have been here since the 2022 team. So it was kind of fun to see that 2022 team, 2021 team, all those teams squaring off. I think it will be fun, although I don't know how Sincere Carey could play on 2 teams. But you know what? Thank you so much for joining us at the desk, Mike.
Thank you. Just glad to be here. Have a great night, Portage County.
You.